Episode 181 of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Today I'm speaking with Mason Gravely of the Adventure Sports Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. If you use Audible, then you know. If you're not, you're missing out. It's like having a library in your phone, and I use it a lot. Audible helps the miles fly by on the road or in the air as I'm enjoying great books I discover or are recommended to me by friends. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/theoutdoorbizpodcast. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Start your 30-day free trial with Audible today. audibletrial.com/theoutdoorbizpodcast. I believe achieving success in the outdoor biz is dependent upon embracing the outdoor lifestyle and learning from outdoor leaders that came before you. If you agree, then listen up for tips, advice, and hacks about growing or starting your career in the outdoor biz. My name is Rick Sayes. Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. On this episode, Mason tells us about his project Camp Crate, how he got involved in podcasting, and a lot more. But first, if you want to grow your outdoor adventure business with a podcast, I've created a proven 10-step guide that will show you how to increase sales, educate customers, boost authority, and publish a podcast. From choosing your podcast style and content ideas to publishing your episodes, it has everything you need to know about growing your business with a podcast. Head over to outdoorbizpodcastacademy.com/grow and download this free resource today. That's outdoorbizpodcastacademy.com/grow. Hey, Mason, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah, good to be chatting with a fellow podcaster, although you got like a bunch of episodes. You're way outdoing me. Congratulations. 500 and something.
Nah, man, it's I took the show over when a lot of that work was already done. So I thank the previous hosts. They're good guys.
Cool. How long? And you do 3 episodes a week?
Two new episodes a week, and then one like a Throwback Thursday episode, because we have, like you said, 500, and we had so many incredible guests on early on before the show was very big. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man, there's a very good chance most of today's listeners haven't heard. Like one of the first episodes was like an astronaut.
Oh wow!
And I'm like,
cool.
I didn't even have an idea until I started looking back. And
like, I was looking at it today before.
This one.
Yeah, I was looking at it today, and I don't know a lot of people on there. It's pretty interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting people out there doing cool trips. That's
cool.
For sure.
And it's called the Adventure Sports Podcast. You kind of focus on the sports side of things.
I will say it's kind of a misnomer. We honestly focus on the stories of adventure. Like crazy, harrowing things to, I was dying of this and decided to get into running, or just different stories, and also the how-to.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how did you get into the outdoor industry?
Man, in college, born and raised in Florida. Yeah. And people don't know a lot about Florida's hunting culture. There's a huge hunting culture.
No, I knew about the fishing, but I didn't know hunting.
Yeah, huge, man. Deer hunting, wild hogs called Razorbacks, or pigs. Turkeys, lots of turkeys, just all kinds of huge. I'm telling you, man, tons of people do it, at least where I'm from. And so I grew up doing that, and fishing as well. Yeah. Then, in college, I started getting into the sporting side. Decided to do a big bike trip between, I think, sophomore and junior and senior year.
Oh, cool.
A big bike tour across country, and just fell in love from there. I kept doing it every summer, did something.
Wow.
And, just roads winding, just like the roads across the country, man. Your career takes a lot of just strange, winding, exciting turns.
And did you ride across the U.S.?
Yes, I actually did that. I would do that every summer for like 6 years in a row.
Really? Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you were studying biology, weren't you? How did you get into biology?
Man, just the world is a cool place. I liked looking at it, first of all, and then I liked studying it, So botany, zoology, chemistry, physics, and honestly didn't give a whole lot of thought to after that, because I'll be honest, a lot of the career paths my friends took, I could just never do, research, just laboratory work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have the patience or the meticulousness. I don't even know if that's a word, to just sit there.
It is now.
It is now. Yeah. To fill little test tubes and stuff up. I just can't do it. So, right. And then, there is general biology where you can, study animals and stuff, but there's not obviously a ton of opportunities with that.
I'll bet, right? Yeah.
So I just kept biking.
And how did we were talking about the camp crate earlier. You guys started that. When did you start that? How long ago was that? I remember
Oh man.
that.
I was living in Yosemite. I had a good friend there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there for like 6 months, and then got married, and then moved to Denver right away. Yeah, man, this was a whirlwind 5 years ago. Jeez. That was nuts. We eloped in Vegas, so it was
cool.
It was a little bit just wild and free. And then we got to Denver, slowed down, kind of just odd jobs, man, here and there. I used to paint houses in college, grew up doing that. And so I resorted to that here in Denver. If anyone knows anything about Denver, there's a lot of people, a lot of houses, a lot of going on.
Yeah.
A little bit overwhelming, honestly.
Growing like crazy. And, I spent a few years in Louisville. Yeah, it's crazy now.
Oh, yeah. You're right there between Boulder and Denver. You're in the heat of it, man.
That's right, the heart of it, exactly.
That is nuts. And just I went out to Yosemite again to visit, to go backpacking, and stayed with a friend, and he and I got to talking, saying, man, backpacking, it's really hard logistically to figure out. There's got to be an easier way. So we decided to start Camp Crate in 2016. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And basically people would call you up and say, hey, I want to go to hike the John Muir Trail for a week. What do I need? You send it to them?
Well, basically people would, we started getting, we just rented gear at first. But then, and we'd ship it anywhere in the country, round trip. Mm-hmm. And people were like, I would love the gear, but I don't know what to do with it. You can give someone skis, but if you don't tell them where to go or
right.
everything else, they're like, I don't know what to do with it. Right. And so we built this little online course, and then built all these itineraries all over the country. And then they could choose which one they wanted. If they're, vacationing in San Francisco, they could go to the Yosemite. If they're vacationing in, Seattle, they could choose our Olympic National Park route, or East Coast tons. And then here in Colorado, of course, we had a lot.
Right.
And yeah, man.
So
book a trip and we'd send it.
So
to
it was
your
a trip
hotel.
planning and gear and everything.
Wilderness permits, transportation even, and then all the food was also included.
Wow.
It was nuts.
That's
and that was
big.
just me and him. He was doing the online stuff. I handled every piece of gear single-handedly. It was nuts. And we just had a baby. So.
Oh, geez. And you were telling me when it came back, you got to clean it all.
Oh, yeah. I had to clean it. And I don't have a very big place, and so I don't have a yard even. So I have to hang it up all in my little condo, whatchamacallit, little porch. And it was crazy.
Yeah. I'll bet. How long did you do that?
A year.
Oh, yeah. It was summer, right?
Three summers. Three summers. And this summer, man, it just got overwhelming. And we both, we just honestly got to a breaking point.
Yeah.
That was just too hard to manage, and decided to take some serious steps back. It's a great idea, but it's a pain in the ass to pull off.
I can only imagine. I was a river guide. I just hated cleaning the life jackets at the end of the day, let alone all the cooking stuff. Oh my God, that's a mess.
No, and customer service, and what's crazy is like it really took off with international folks. So it was a language barrier a lot of times. But we sent. Gosh, we were growing like crazy. It sucks, but I'll be honest. The execution of it sounds awesome on paper.
The logistics, exactly. Yeah.
Is like, I hate this. I hate it. You know what I mean? I'd rather paint houses, in all honesty.
Right. And so then somewhere along the lines is when you bought the Adventure Sports podcast?
Yeah. So pretty much a year ago now, just under a year ago. I was a big fan of the show and was on it a few times with some of the bike trips I did, just telling stories and stuff. And then I just stayed in touch with the hosts. So I'm sure a lot of my listeners don't even know this. And one day I'm like, I just kind of sensed this like a burnout in their voice, if you want me to be honest. And I just sent them an email and said, hey guys, if you ever need help hosting, just let me know. I'd love to get into this. I love to talk. And love to listen too, obviously. As a host, I don't do a lot of
right. You got right.
Yeah. But I didn't hear from them for like a month, and a month later they were like, "Hey, You want to buy the show? So I'm like,
wow, that's pretty intuitive of you, man. That's good to pick up. Wow.
but they were just, yeah, it was just listening to episodes. I'm like, dang, something's different about them than there was. Like, because I jump on and listen for a few months. You know how you do
Yeah,
podcasts.
sure.
You
Right.
just, you get in, kind of like music. You get in moods for different types of
Yep,
music.
yep.
And so, man, it was like a couple months of training. Then we signed some papers, and you know, they just sold it to me pretty good price,
Yeah,
to be
boom.
honest.
Good
And
for you.
we were good friends, so
Yeah.
it worked out. And they
Yeah.
were both. It was so cool because talking to all the people on the show, there was two hosts before. It encouraged them to take dramatically adventurous steps in their lives because of the
Got ya.
influence of the show, and
Got ya.
and in part though that was going to force them to discontinue being hosts.
Right.
So it was like perfect timing.
Yeah, good for
They were
you.
like, we're ready to do something ourselves, but that means no more Adventure Sports podcast.
Yeah.
So
That's
it
awesome.
worked out.
Yeah, good for you. Congratulations. And you said you do 3 episodes a week. 1 is kind of a revisit, and 2 are brand new.
Yeah.
And how do you find guests? How do you research? What's that whole process look like?
Man, you know, you just when you enjoy something, you tend to read about it, tend to just kind of be in that culture, and then I see a few stories I like, I'll reach out on Instagram or email or Facebook or something, somewhere on social media, or go to their website and be like, hey, it's a really cool trip, I'd love to have you on the show. And then we just get a lot of people reach out to us, say most reach out to us now.
Is it most inbound? Yeah.
Because of I guess because the growth. It's a decent sized show now.
Yeah, I was checking.
Been a long, slow climb.
Yeah,
which is the case in the outdoor industry.
It is the case. I can relate to that. Yeah. And
man,
it's funny how when I do the same thing. I mean, I've been in the outdoor industry for a long time, and I just reach out to most of the people that I know, not all, obviously, but people love to come on. I mean, I don't think I've had anybody turn me down. Maybe one for, I don't even remember why, but most people are, excited about it, and it's a great way to tell their stories, share their stories.
Oh man, people love to share.
Yeah.
And if I'll tell you one thing, if you are a good listener, you're going to have friends for the rest of your life, because people love to talk about themselves.
That's true. And they love to share.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they love to share, especially adventurous activities.
Yeah.
They love to share.
We all what they've seen and learned.
Or if you did something, you pushed the limit somewhere, you want to talk about that. Everybody loves to do that.
Oh man. Yeah. And if you can listen and you really do enjoy listening, man, you're just going to have people are going to like you, and it's just good. It's rare a lot of times, but I'm glad there's platforms like this for people to share those stories.
Yeah, it's very cool. Do you have a favorite episode?
Man, I do. Man. It was when I was, I didn't host it, but it was when I was just a fan. My wife and I were driving to like Durango or something, and there's this one dude from Boulder. Actually, he's not from Boulder. He's from somewhere else in Colorado, but he went to CU Boulder, alcoholic, and he decided got kicked out of school, terrible, and he got clean through one of the programs at the school, and his name's Robert Sheeran. And so he is like a celebration / I don't know, new chapter in his life. He decided to leave from campus to Alaska on literally a moped, and it was so purely adventure. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just boiled down, concentrated, pure adventure.
Just hanging it out there, going for it.
He was so humble, so unassuming, honestly, but just amazing storyteller.
Very cool. We'll have to find that and link to that episode on our show notes. That's cool.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And what are some of the podcasting challenges you've run into? We've all done the, forgot to press the record button a few times. Anything else come to mind?
Oh man, yeah, it's kind of balancing like how hard to push. You know what I mean? Like, do I go to this? Just continue calling this person that can help it grow until they answer? Do I stay up all night? Do I have the right tags in the episode? Am I doing this right? Should I add this to the show? You know what I mean? It's like a blank canvas, and you have every color, paint you can imagine. Like, where do I even start to improve this? And so it's just finding the balance between enjoying it and also pushing it, because man, it takes time of your day, and
Yeah.
if that time isn't being paid off, it's hard to justify it, sometimes if you have other things going on. So monetizing is also a huge challenge.
Yeah.
They're not giving this money away for free,
No, and I don't blame them. I mean, I've had a few sponsors on, and yeah, exactly. It's like, you want to deliver once you get a sponsor. So whether it's good content or good downloads, whatever it is. Yeah, that's true. And what are some of the most rewarding parts? Just listening to the stories, sharing the stories?
Oh man. Just hearing, I walk away with I'll get off an interview and, close my recorder and shut the laptop and just tingle with just excitement about someone I just talked to, or just wow, this person I can't believe I just talked to them halfway around the world, or heard this story and they're sharing it. And then also hearing from listeners, obviously, when they reach out and say, oh man, this really helped me get through this huge lull in my life, or it helps me, stay sane at the desk, or they're on an adventure and listening to the show, and they write in from wherever they are, and that's so awesome to hear. So awesome.
That's very cool. Yeah. Have you had any listeners turn into guests?
Absolutely. So, if at the end of every episode, I ask, if you have any ideas for guests, reach out. Here's how you reach out.
Yep.
And we have a lot of listeners say, hey, I've been listening. I did this. Let me know if it's something you'd like to talk about. And a lot of times it's something I've never heard of. So we're like, yeah, let's do an interview.
Cool.
So it does happen a lot.
That's cool. And what outdoor activities do you participate in? You still get on the bike?
I do. I like to backpack a lot now. I love bike packing. So a lot of my tours are off road, and but honestly, man, my knees have started giving out. And so I'm turning into kayaking, lighter backpacking, and a lot of hiking. Pretty much anything that can be turned into like a journey, a multi-day, multi-week, even if I can find the time. I love anything like that.
Any of your favorite spots? Which are some of your favorite places to go?
Oh man,
you got some great spots near you, Utah, Colorado. Holy cow!
Yeah, I'd say my favorite place in the world, just the iconicness of it and the history of it, is Yosemite Valley.
Yeah.
It's just madness in the summer. It's actually like a Disneyland.
It's like a zoo. I avoid it in the summer.
It's a zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, I love that place. It's just I understand. I'm like, okay, people, I hate that so many people are here and it's so developed, but God, do I love that place.
Yeah,
but the other, Colorado, man, I'll be honest, I kind of preach this a lot. You've heard of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those are freaking awesome.
Oh, cool.
There's never anyone down there. Never.
Huh.
And it's the closest thing in Colorado to Montana or Wyoming, in my opinion. Huh. Everyone down there is a rancher or a cowboy of some sort.
Yep.
There hardly anyone. I've gone entire, 3-4 day trips down there and not seeing a single other person on these just world-class trails.
Cool.
High alpine, lakes, just camping all by yourself in this entire valley.
Wow.
And I love it.
I'll have to get down there and check that out. That's the one thing about the Sierra. It sure is beautiful, but you're rarely alone unless you go way off the beaten path. But
yeah, you really do. And man, you get out there and you see why. It's just stunning out there. I love the Sierra.
Pretty amazing. Yep, pretty amazing. Do you have any suggestions or advice for folks wanting to get into the outdoor biz? Or the outdoor industry of some sort, not necessarily the biz side of it, maybe?
Gosh, you gotta be flexible. And this is not everyone's story, you know what I mean? Some people are going to have a great opportunity quickly or just have a knack for it. But my experience, I've had to be very flexible, and just extremely patient, and work very hard. It's a lot of days of like, God, what am I doing? Why don't I just go get a job somewhere?
Yeah. Flexible in what ways? Flexible in compromising, bigger paychecks or what?
Compromise. Yeah, that's a huge one. I'd say flexible in like what you want out of life. I feel like I've had a string of failures. Like I could just list Camp Crate being probably the most traumatic of them all and the biggest. You know, I don't consider it a failure. I had a great time.
Yeah, you learned a ton.
It was
right.
And I realized, I'm like, wow, I'm really glad that didn't take. I didn't want to go that direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So I think back to my friend a lot. He lives here in town. He's a plumber. And he was like a semi-pro mountain bike racer. He was talented mountain biker, like downhill. He's literally a plumber. Has like 3 kids now.
Wow.
And this dude makes so much money, it's ridiculous.
As a plumber.
And he makes like $150 an hour.
Yeah,
is what he charges.
Well, hey, man, when the thing is plugged, you got to get the thing moving. So
yeah, and he is the most late. He's not money hungry. He's so laid back. His wife doesn't work, which, you know, whatever they want to do. And what I'm saying is, he does not seem that stressed out ever.
Yeah.
And he's got 3 kids and is living in a fairly expensive city. He must be doing okay. And he's always tells me, it's like, I'm so glad I didn't pursue biking as a career.
Really? Interesting.
He says, like, I had a taste of it. It's so, it makes you hate it. He goes, it's so based on your performance that you can't really enjoy a race. You have to place to get money. You have to place to
a lot
pay
of pressure,
the bills.
Yeah.
He's like, and you know, if I at all fell and hurt my pinky, you know, or my toes or my feet or my legs,
right,
I could miss meals. And he's like, I'm just so glad I got into something that is always going to be here, so that, you know, on the mornings or the evenings or the weekends or whenever he wants to take off and do a trip,
right,
he's like, I can just 100% enjoy it and provide a great life for my family. And I think about that a lot. Like, God, do I really want to pursue this or not? You know, you just got to ask yourself. You know,
well, it's different. It's different.
Risk?
You're right. It is different. I think if you know, there's a lot of folks like me who had a regular job with a brand, you know, 9 to 5 as a sales guy or marketing guy or whatever. And it's a 9 to 5 other than the travel, but you get to work with, you know, create cool products and design fun stuff and go out and sell fun stuff. There's so many different aspects of the outdoor industry that I think there's opportunities like that for people. You just have to do the grind and get in it. Yeah.
There is more of the like traditional careers within the industry. It's just a matter of, you know, if you can find one, great. And if that's what you want to do, awesome. But if you grow to find out that you don't really want to do that, I totally get it now.
Well, I can imagine.
I didn't before.
Yeah, I can't imagine some of those other athletes, you know, the pro ball players that, you know, the work and energy that they go through just to get on the field every week is just, you know, oh my God. You could no wonder they don't burn out sooner, you know. It's interesting. And they beat the hell out of themselves, man.
You know, $10 million a year is quite a motivator, I'm sure.
I wouldn't know.
But a broken back, you know, gosh, is it worth it?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, those more those standard sport careers are unreal.
Yeah.
Those guys.
There's probably a podcast that talks about that.
I'm sure there's got to be.
Exactly. We'll have to link to it. Do you have any daily routines you use to keep your sanity? Meditate, get a lot of exercise, walk the dog, kick the dog?
Man, I should have more. I'm not the most. I don't have a great routine.
Yes, for some people, no routine is a routine. I mean, I know a lot of people like that.
About the only thing I do is wake up and I watch the coffee boil as I make watch the water boil as I make coffee. I just like zone out. But then, other than that, man, I do like to cook a lot.
Oh, cool.
Then, sometimes washing dishes, you know what I'm talking about? Like the warm water, the soap. Enjoy that just to sit back, but nothing super healthy. Honestly, exercise some.
Yeah.
You know, get out when I can, do trips. It's kind of all or nothing. You know what I mean? I'm either at the laptop all day.
Yeah, well, you get
regret it.
Yeah.
And then the next day I'm like, all right, I'm going to the mountains.
Got to do something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to do more of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about read? Do you read a lot? Do you have any favorite books, or do you give books as gifts?
Yeah, I get a lot of books through the podcast. A lot of, you know, just not trip reports, but books about expeditions or, you know, journeys. But man, there's this one it is very similar to that. it sounds so like, I don't know, over the top, but when my grandpa died, I looked through his books and I found one called John Brent, and it's written by this guy, I think Theodore Winthrop. He's a Civil War veteran,
Uh-huh.
and it's a true story, but I'm pretty positive a lot of it's embellished. But guys, just it's very John Muir-esque.
Huh.
But he before the war, he was out in California. Just he had claims to a gold mine, and a very small little claim, and God, it was just going terrible for him. But then he found out his sister got sick, and her kids needed. He was the godfather, basically.
Okay, got you.
And so the book is about his journey, selling the gold mine claim, finding a wild horse, trying to tame it, and then meeting a guy named John Brent along the way who becomes like his best friend, and they just literally have to go from California to New York City.
Wow.
On this beautiful black horse, and his journey is just unreal.
Huh.
But after he wrote the book, no kidding, this guy, Theodore Winthrop, became the first Union officer to die in the Civil War.
Really?
And ironically, he was shot by a slave who was being forced to fight for the rebel army.
Wow.
And he was adherent to he was an abolitionist, so It was just horrible turn in irony.
Oh,
but,
man. Well, how do you
love that book?
How do you spell Brent? B-R-A-N?
Brent. Yeah, John Brent.
Okay, cool.
And
we'll look for
really
that.
old, but I don't know. I just love it.
Cool. We'll link to that in the show notes. That sounds like a great story. I'll have to pick that up.
It's really
right
good.
in the middle of looking for a new book. So many great books. How about favorite outdoor gear purchase under $100?
I totally skipped over that one. I totally didn't.
Didn't see that one?
It's a great question. I just don't know what it. I don't know, man. Probably
a little
camping stove. Just my stove. I love on an adventure. I love to eat.
Uh-huh.
And so it's like just having something to cook a hot meal with is just like been the best purchase. I think it was like $10.
Which stove do you have?
It's an old. I have a Jetboil now, but it was for years in college and after, because I was so broke all the time. I used this little old Coleman stove that I got from either Walmart or off Amazon.
Cool.
It was like $10. Man, it has been awesome.
Oh, all right.
It's like, golly, $10 for something that just is so useful so often. I wouldn't take a backpack, and it's a little heavier than more lightweight. But on a bike, man, you can.
Oh, right. You can go a little heavier on a bike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can get a stove for $10 these days, can you?
I don't think one of those, no. And I think I got it. I don't know where I got it from.
Yeah, interesting.
But it was cheap as dirt.
Yeah, good for you. We all have a lot of stuff back in the day where we either bought it cheap or acquired it free, one way or the other.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. As we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to say to our listeners or ask of our listeners?
No, I'd love, I'd love my listeners to check out your show and vice versa.
That'd be great.
I'd love your listeners to check out my show, the Adventure Sports Podcast. And if they know anybody who'd make a good guest, stories about adventure or done something cool, I'd love to hear.
Cool. Well, we'll link to your show in the show notes, and I'll send you a copy of my show notes if you. I don't know if you do show notes. I didn't look at your notes.
Yes.
Or anything, but you can plagiarize them all you want. So
it'll be the same here. Anything, any pictures, whatever.
Yeah,
you're
cool.
Good to go.
Right on. And how can people follow up with you directly if they have any questions or want to reach out with some guests?
Yeah. They can go to adventuresportspodcast.com. And there's a contact button on there, or you can just email me, Mason@adventuresportspodcast.com. And that's Mason like the jar.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll link to that stuff in the show notes too. Well, it's been great catching up with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you at a show. I'm sure you go to OR. You're there. Right?
Oh, it's right down the road, man.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm gonna be there. Yeah, we should meet up.
Yeah, definitely. We'll grab a beer or something.
Cool.
Right on, man. Well, thanks. If you want more of the Outdoor Biz Podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to go to the outdoorbizpodcast.com where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. Until next time, be sure to make time to get outside.